Let's say we were going out to fish a tournament, or maybe we're going to fish a lake we'd never been on before. What would we do? How would we find those fish? I'll tell you how I would do it. I would use the two baits that I characterize as search baits. Those are going to be crankbaits and spinner baits, and those are interchangeable. You can fish them any style you want to, anytime you want to, go back and forth. And again, the primary objective is to cover a lot of water and cover it relatively quickly. Crankbaits. You can take one, tie it on, and you can fish it in a foot of water. You can fish it in 15 feet of water. You can fish them slow, you can fish them fast. You could start with a crankbait, or you could start with a spinnerbait. Spinnerbaits are versatile. Cold water, hot water, muddy water. Because of the blade configurations, you can do just about anything you want to. You can change blades, change skirts. You can retrieve them fast or slow. Slow roll that in 30 feet of water, or wake it like a V-wake in shallow water. It'll still catch fish. Once you find fish using these two baits, the other thing you can do is switch around. You want to throw a jig or a Carolina rig or a topwater bait? That's fine. Use your eyes to find weeds and wood and other things that you're used to fishing. If you're throwing one of these, let's say for example, and they're interchangeable, that you started off with a spinnerbait and the spinnerbait bite stops, what you always want to do is find a bait that matches the size of that blade. That crankbait matches that size, because you've got the size figured out, basically got the speed figured out, and you're in an area that you know is holding fish. Hey, keep the pedal down on that trolling motor, stay in that area. Your objective was to find fish and to cover water quickly. You've done that. So once you do that, you're hunting for that big fish or maybe a few more fish. That's worked for me. I'll bet you it'll work for you. I fish lots of lures. One lure I'll always have tied on is a spinnerbait. There's two key critical factors to throwing a spinnerbait. There's water displacement, which is a lot of times confused with vibration. Water displacement really amounts to the amount of disturbance in the water created by the blade. Certain blades create more disturbance. The disturbance actually allows the bass to zero in on the blade and the bait because it understands and senses its presence. The flash and the color that's involved will also help that bass decide if that's something to eat. How much does it look like a minnow? A willow leaf blade, a Colorado blade, and Indiana blades are the three blades that I like to use. A quick explanation of that would be that a willow leaf blade probably excels in muddy water. It's going to give more flash and less water displacement than any other blade. Since bass are visual creatures and feed by sight, in real muddy water, a double willow leaf blade would be my choice. In waters that get a lot of fishing pressure, boats, jet skis, anytime there's additional baits for the bass to look at, you want to go with a different kind of a blade. That would be an Indiana blade. It's oblong, it's a little bit different than a Colorado, and different than a willow leaf. So an Indiana blade in water that gets a lot of fishermen and a lot of fishing pressure is going to be a good bet. In clear water or cold water, I choose a Colorado blade. It's the round blade, the one that really displaces probably more water than any other blade. You can mix and match, and this is your chance to be a lure inventor. You can take a bait like this one, put a willow leaf and a Colorado blade, and get the best of both worlds. This has got silver and gold, so the bass gets to choose what color. Mix them, match them, Colorado combinations with a willow leaf or an Indiana, double willow leaf. Any one of those is going to work under certain conditions. You try those and see if that doesn't make a difference in your bass fishing. For real tips, I'm Joey Monteleone.